Welcome back to the GameLink podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Lebbi, and as always, I'm joined by my friend Elmer.
Hey there,
Today, it's 31 episodes already.
31 episodes. Also, by the way, after this past week, happy 31st birthday, buddy!
Yeah, thanks. It kind of works out. So 31. I still feel the same, and this podcast is only getting better, so at least something's going right.
And to everybody who is consistently listening to us, I personally want to apologize in terms of the infrequency that we've had as of late. It's been a combination, unfortunately, due to illness with myself, Archangel, and our poor little beagle buddy, Carol Ann, who's guested on this podcast in the video form here, there, and everywhere. She was diagnosed with Lyme's disease. Fortunately, with the antibiotics we gave her, she was like back to normal in apparently about 3 days, but it felt like 3 hours. And we just gave her the pill, and that dog was just like, "Hi, I'm back!" And I was like, Jesus. But no, she's feeling good again. Some car issues on my end, as well as just some health issues between Archangel and I. We're so sorry. We'll try not to do this again. We won't skip over a major holiday again, we swear. But yes, my beagle buddy, she's doing fine. And by the way that the vet tech described it, it should completely eradicate it from her system. Not have to worry. You have to love modern antibiotics.
Yeah, it's been a rough month, but yeah. And sorry about the audio, everyone. Apparently the microphone mixer, the volume knob for Elmer's mic is extremely sensitive. Like I barely even touched it, and all of a sudden it's fixed. So, anyway, let's see. Before we talk about, we're doing Alone in the Dark from 2005. Before we talk about that, besides the the being sick and the dog and all that, what have you been up to the last, 3 weeks?
Oh, wait, no. I hold my wine glass with five digits at this point, so I didn't realize I was not holding up 4 fingers instead of 3. Pretty much work, getting over the Thanksgiving holiday, which we got to do a turducken this year, which was 8 hours of nightmare.
Ooh, that does sound good, though.
But it was delicious. Duck à l'orange, beer can chicken inside of a Jamaican jerk turkey. No, I did not say that in the wrong order. Just turns out our duck was smaller than our chicken. I got to do that. I got to work over Black Friday, which was a nightmare, but of course. And then from there, just sort of kind of settled in, and am realizing, wow, the glitz and glamour that is of the Christmas season. I'll take it because it's hypnotizing and distracting at this point. How about yourself?
Let's see. I watched Velocipaster again.
Masterpiece.
Which is, that movie. If you can appreciate a low budget movie that's very self-aware, this is a masterpiece. God, you got to watch it. So I did that, and the Game Awards. Me and a buddy and my partner all sat down and watched the Game Awards. And it was rough, but a lot of really cool stuff was announced. So, if you didn't hear, what's his name,
Christopher Judge.
Yeah, Christopher Judge, the voice actor for Kratos in the new God of War, or in all the God of Wars. Who won an award, and he went on and just talked forever.
9 minutes and counting. However, here's the thing. Some different people have been kind of going after him, saying about that. At the same time, it was his address to I wouldn't even say address to the Academy, but his thanking of the Academy style of speech.
Yeah.
Basically, it was him just thanking all the people in his life that had gotten him to that point. And as somebody who grew up with Christopher Judge, with 2 other good friends of ours, watching Stargate SG-1 back in the day, to see Teal'c give a 9-minute acceptance speech was just fantastic. He knocked it out of the park. The entire audience was like, oh shit, this is awesome. And then in the end, everybody says, oh, by the way, everybody, I got to meet Al Pacino.
Which is the funny thing about Al Pacino. He comes out and starts talking, and you can tell he's squinting, trying to read the teleprompter, and he just goes, "Yeah, I can't read this fucking thing." But yeah, so Chris talked forever, and the funny thing is, like, when he was like shortly before he stopped, they actually started like playing him off, and then he just talked louder. It just kept going.
It's like, no one gives a shit. There's no commercial backing to this. Keep it rolling.
Yeah. Well, and plus they were giving away a free Steam Deck every minute as long for the entirety of the Game Awards. So after he was done, Jeff Keighley was like, "Yeah, guess he wanted to give away a few extra Steam Decks." And the rest of the show, Jeff Keighley made like multiple comments about how many extra Steam Decks they're gonna have to give away, and like how they need to make up some time and all this stuff.
Now, if anything, I think Judge is not somebody who's gonna like not think about something like that, because he actually has donated to like different like children's funds and stuff like that. What if that was his plan the entire time?
It could have been.
Double-edged sword. Thank everybody who helped to get him to that point of his career and just, national or international recognition. But simultaneously, all the kids that get a free Steam Deck.
Yeah, give away some Steam Decks.
Which is probably going to be like some hacker in China, like getting it sent to their storage unit somewhere.
Well, they had a really smart way of making sure like bots and hackers. There was like a time period of 6 months where they're like, if you didn't make any purchases during this time period, you're not eligible. And like also you have to be watching like through the Steam website at the time you win the giveaway, or you're not eligible. So anyway, they did announce some really cool stuff. So Hades 2, which I'm not good enough at to play, but a lot of my friends are pumped about that one. There's a new game called Judas, made by the team that did BioShock. So as you can expect, it looks pretty much just like BioShock, but different.
I've seen a screen capture and kind of like the teaser image for it. I haven't gotten to watch that yet. As somebody who is an old school System Shock as well as BioShock fan, I am kind of interested to see what the heck this game looks like, because it looks pretty cool. There's only really one game I kind of checked out after I heard about the announcement trailer for it, and that was just because, well, we'll get to it, because unfortunately passed away by the last time we recorded. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. So they also announced a Bayonetta adventure platform that looks surprisingly good. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Are we gonna do that anime someday?
Yeah, we should. I really like the Bayonetta lore and stuff. But that's a game that I've never actually like beaten any of them. Just gotten pretty close, but it kind of gets tired towards the end. Especially with 2. Anyway, I won't rant. So a game called Earthblade. It's coming from the creators of like Celeste and Towerfall. The new Star Wars game actually looks pretty good. I'm not really one to enjoy many of the Star Wars games, but
Jedi Survivor, if I remember
something like that. Yeah. And you might be interested in this one. It's an open world survival MMO Dune game.
Oh, that's going to be the Transformers MMO open world game. But no, they're going to do a Doom one?
No, not Doom. Dune.
Oh. No, Arrakis is a giant planet filled with nothing but sand, a couple of rocks, and giant LSD shitting worms. No,
the worms are in it. I mean, they got to be. But it actually looks pretty freaking cool. They're finally releasing Baldur's Gate 3 and a Crash Bandicoot game that I think is a MOBA, like League of Legends. I wasn't quite sure if I understood what was happening, but
sounds on par with the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Okay. In terms of being incomprehensible.
It looks like it could be good, unless it's a MOBA, in which case it will probably not do well. But we'll see. It looks kind of cool. So there was obviously a lot more announced. I won't go through it all, but check it out. Check the list out somewhere online.
Just the one that I was referring to earlier, from Rocksteady, who did the Arkham games and stuff like that. They were doing Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and that was what was basically announced to be the last, at least property to be released utilizing the voice of the late great Kevin Conroy, who just passed away a few weeks back from cancer, who's been the voice of Batman basically for both of our lives. No, it's that's gonna be his last performance of it, and he's gonna be playing evil Batman, and everybody's going, oh no, that's one great way of going out. Speaking of which, along the same time, when it comes to kind of reveal trailers like that, I believe both the teaser and the full reveal trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie is going to last week.
Yeah, we got a few more Mario Brothers trailers over the last couple weeks, and the movie looks like it's going to be good. Everyone sounds great as their characters, with one exception. Can you guess who? Chris Pratt. But also listening to, I went through and listened to different foreign language trailers, and a lot of the Marios kind of sound the same, kind of like laid back, and like they're using a normal voice, except for a couple of them. Like the Japanese one sounds pretty good, the Italian one sounds spot on, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be awful, but it's just not gonna feel right. But in addition, I don't know if you've heard much about our favorite Sega rock star Yuji Naka. But he's the co-creator of Sonic. He's been arrested twice since our last podcast.
Two questions. For what and where?
In Japan, for insider trading, both times.
Okay, that could have been a lot darker than where I thought I was going to go.
Yeah.
Knowing when it comes to people who kind of created like my favorite characters in life, that could have gotten a hell of a lot worse.
And he's also was like known to be like the partier that liked late nights and fast cars, after Sonic gained popularity.
It still could be a hell of a lot worse.
But yeah, so the first time he got arrested, he and two Square Enix employees bought a bunch of shares in a developer called Aiming Inc. Right before their collaboration with Square Enix for a Dragon Quest game was announced. So obviously, insider trading, he got arrested. Like a week later, he was arrested again for buying about another $1 million in stocks for a developer called A-Team before its collaboration with Square Enix was announced for the game Final Fantasy and the First Soldier for mobile. So
I thought it was only insider trading if you're doing it from... If you were not in control of the actual stocks of your company and you had no actual stock options, I didn't think it was insider trading if you were doing it outside of that. Or are the laws different in Japan?
I'm not sure if the laws are different in Japan, but it's insider trading because he's doing it with insider info for being in the industry. So he was collaborating with like employees of Square Enix.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you there. I'm just saying though, but if you don't have any stock options within the company that you are developing with, that's what I mean with the United States here. That's how that works. So I'm just saying, is it different in Japan, or did he just get caught doing it and everyone's just like, you're a fucking moron. We can see you doing this.
I don't know about that, but
no, that's just where I'm from. When I just go, wait, so how did he get caught? That's my big question. My apologies.
No.
Insider trading for both cases.
It's a silly thing to do when you're already fucking filthy rich. But anyway, aside from that, I was checking out this AI. It's based on the GPT protocol. And basically it's kind of like it's really good at like helping people be creative, from like helping you write essays to scripts, or like making up stories, to like it's to the point you can just like paste in a bunch of code that you're working on and saying like, why doesn't this work? And it'll either fix it for you or tell you what to do to fix it. Or it'll just like create code for you. So I had it create a couple scripts to like update my servers and like automatically like convert different videos and things like that. It's pretty cool. So I had it write a script for this episode, and it did it in about 5 seconds, and I fact checked it. Everything's correct. It's pretty good. So I'll read that first, but I also had it write a joke for us. So if you haven't seen Alone in the Dark, this might not be as funny until you watch it, but
please don't. Just for your own sake.
The joke is, what did critics have to say about Alone in the Dark? They said it should be buried alone in a dark hole and never be seen by anyone.
I don't care who you are. That is the most computer AI written joke I think I've ever heard.
It was pretty cool.
Well, what would you do with humans? We would put them in a special zoo.
Yeah, so, okay, Alone in the Dark is a survival horror game that was released in 1992 and developed by Infogrames, which used to be really popular up until like the early 2000s. I don't know if they're still kicking around now. It's considered one of the most influential games in its genre, which is point-and-click adventure. And it spawned numerous sequels, a film, and several other spin-offs. The game follows the protagonist, Edward Canby, as he explores a haunted mansion in the Louisiana Bayou, looking for clues to an ancient mystery. It was the first game to use 3D polygon graphics, though it does it kind of like how Donkey Kong Country did it, where they'd take a 3D model and compress a 2D image of it for each angle they need the character at, whatever. So it allowed for more realistic and immersive experiences. It also featured a point-and-click interface, which allowed for a more intuitive way of navigating. And a lot of people made more point-and-click games that worked really similarly to that. The game's overall design was heavily inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft. It had an eerie atmospheres and monsters inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. So it incorporated exploration and puzzle solving and like a little bit of like mystery solving type stuff.
Scooby-Doo with Eldritch Horrors. Oh, yeah. And especially in that flat, just cel-shaded 2.5D graphics.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a game that I've never played, but I've seen some of the gameplay, and it didn't age well, but it's I can see why it was popular back in the day. It's like obviously like a classic that people still enjoy, although not as much anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's been remade for everything you can think of. But anyway, that's the script that the AI wrote. Pretty good. So my script is the the programmers at Infogrames were Frederick Reynal and a woman named, gosh, what was her name? Baraz. Anyway, they began programming a tool to create 3D characters and animate them in 1991. The CEO of Infogrames, Bruno Bonnell, that's a funny one. He proposed a game in which the player would use matches to like light a match and get a snapshot of like what's around them in an otherwise completely dark environment. He was an aficionado of horror films such as Dawn of the Dead, and the lead programmer saw this as an opportunity to create a horror game and was given permission to lead the project. So they got the artistic director do a series of concept sketches with white chalk on black paper, and then they kind of like put those pictures up for the other artists at Infogrames and had like a contest to see who could come up with the art best, because they were planning on using text to explain most of the story. Anyway, they picked an artist named Yale Barras. That was the girl. So they chose text to explain a lot of the story because computer graphics at the time weren't like advanced enough yet to really do a lot of storytelling on their own. So text it was. He initially planned to create the game's background using scanned photos of like an actual mansion from the 1920s. But that was pretty ambitious for the 3D tools available at the time. So what he did is they did all the scenery hand-drawn bitmaps on the computer.
AKA in 1991 terms, taking for fucking ever.
Yeah, think like a little bit of a better version of Microsoft Paint.
I still imagine Clippy just bitching at you the entire time. Like, let them help.
Yeah, but the way they did it was like it looks like a 3D environment. And then the characters, like I said before, they're 3D models, but then just flattened to 2D images. The way it's done, like you would think that it's being rendered in 3D real time, but it's not. So at one point they had the Call of Cthulhu license for like the board game, but it was quickly taken away when Chaosium, the owners of the IP at the time, determined that the game was too simple and boring to do justice to the rules of the pen and paper game.
Yes, your turn-based, practically 3D video game is too slow and too derivative to be associated with the pen and paper tabletop game.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not going to say I think I hear a little bit of hypocrisy when I hear it, but that's an Ouroboros of somebody sucking their own dick.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, so the game tried to maximize on anxiety and fear. So they designed it in a way that even mundane actions like walking down a hallway, opening a door, or reading a book could cause you to die. During the production, Reynal and Barras, the programmer and the artist, became romantically involved and had a child. So a lot of the development and production was like happy, and everyone was having fun. There was a lot of good memories associated with it. But during the bug testing phase, they got like burnt out, and by the time it was released, like the lead programmer was disappointed with pretty much every aspect of it, and he didn't think that anyone would care. So I guess by those standards, it did a lot better than we thought it would. But yeah, that's all I got. So
so as the title of this episode reads, you have a Bolls, you have a Bowel movement. Oh God! So originally, this film was basically sold on a spec script by an individual. I believe it was Brian Erickson was the gentleman's name. And with the spec script, the film sold for $20 million. And off of that spec script, then the studio, who is basically a subsidiary of Lionsgate, said, if Mr. Boll here accepts the terms of it and makes it an action film, we'll tack an extra $10 million onto it. Oh, somebody else sold. I really hope that is not the same person who helped to basically finance the John Wick movies. Otherwise, that proves a point that you can fail upwards. But I'm not that optimistic of a human being in terms of I think better. No. That's definitely what the fuck happened. We can say whatever the hell we want about this movie. We truly can. Not Brian Erickson, my apologies, Blair Erickson. I'm going to say about this, Boll came onto the project. We've talked about this gentleman before. Basically, he's a German filmmaker who, while being both the most genuine, nicest person on the planet by the sound of it for people who are on his good side, as well as an individual who is a multifaceted, multi-talented individual in the terms of being able to have been a filmmaker, a famous photographer, a famous restaurateur, cook, boxer, all these different things. He's also somebody who once got mad at a bunch of people who made fun of his movies, so he invited them to go kick the shit out of them.
Yep.
3/4 of them are still good friends with him to this day and receive a Christmas card every year, but that's beside the point. Anyway, Mr. Boll's a little bit of a controversial figure.
He known for a long time as the worst director of all time.
No, pretty much still is. Not a lot of people are going to say worse than that. Well, I mean, some people may make fun of the guys who did the epic movies and stuff like that, but even that, I'm just like...
He did retire from directing.
Which I remember you emailing me or messaging me, whichever it was at the time. It was 2014. I can't remember. We were in limbo in terms of when it came to messaging. Anyway, I'll never forget you sending me that. You just sending me the picture of Frodo going, "There it is. We're done. It's over."
Yeah, no one shed a tear about that.
And then he came back. But anyway, yeah, somehow this movie got greenlit. And it got greenlit with Christian Slater, who is a classic 1990s, 1980s actor, who the 2000s were not kind to. After reading some of his personal life and escapades, I can just say, dear God, what did this man do to deserve this? I understand. Drug abuse is a hell of a condition, but still, you don't get stabbed in the throat by your then wife and then have to star in Alone in the Dark. I mean, come on, that's a hell that no one should have. All I can say is thank Christ 2015 happened, so he got to be on Mr. Robot. So, just saying.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got some of the names they got for this movie.
And then apparently everybody bitched because Tara Reid was in it, and then Boll went, "No, it's fine. We put her in wig." And they basically put her hair up in a bun and gave her some thick glasses, and we're just like, no, that's still Tara Reid, you dumb German fucker. No matter what we say tonight to make fun of this film, I hope you all know, not only will in any way describe the actual levels of just... I made the joke earlier tonight that this is not an incompetent film. This is an incontinent film. In terms of, this is not somebody walking up to you with half-baked chicken. No. This is somebody walking up to you with your food on a plate and then shitting their pants in front of you.
Yeah, so I have the idea for... We'll try it out tonight and see how it goes. But instead of doing a bop or flop at the end of the episode, we're going to do an incompetent and incontinent.
I'll let you guess when I read this next part where my standing is at. But no matter what we say about this film, will never be better than the original spec script author of this film, what he had to say about it. This is brilliant. So this is from Mr. Blair Erickson when he was speaking with a interview for somethingawful.com. The original script took the Alone in the Dark premise and depicted it as it were actually based on a true story of a private investigator in the northeastern U.S. whose missing person cases begin to uncover a disturbing paranormal secret. It was told through the eyes of a writer following Edward Carnby and his co-worker for a novel and depicted them as real-life blue-collar folks who never expected to find hideous beings waiting for them in the dark. We tried to stick close to the H.P. Lovecraft style and the low-tech nature of the original game, always keeping the horror in the shadows.
Low-tech?
So you never saw what was coming for them. Thankfully, Dr. Boll was able to hire his loyal team of hacks to crank out something much better than our crappy story and add in all sorts of terrifying horror movie elements like opening gateways to alternate dimensions, bimbo blonde archaeologists, sex scenes, mad scientists, slimy dog monsters, special army forces designed to battle slimy CGI dog monsters, Tara Reid, Matrix slow motion gun battles and car chases. Oh yeah, and a 10-minute opening backstory scroll read out loud to the illiterate audience, the only people able to successfully miss all the negative reviews. I mean, hell, Boll knows that's where the real scares lie. No matter what we say tonight will ever top that. I have felt passion in literature before. I have never felt so much hatred, bile, disdain, and just... That is a mic drop of a self-centered review right there, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's rough.
And you people are there. You're welcome. You never need to watch the movie. All you have to hear is that review, and you can picture the movie in your mind, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Did anything interesting happen during the filming of this movie, or is it pretty much as boring as the movie itself?
Pretty much, Tara Reid wouldn't back down on her no nudity clause in her contract, which she has all rights in the world to, and apparently by the time they did the audio commentary for this, Yuva Boll did nothing but bitch on that she wouldn't give a nip slip. And it's just like, you are a complete scumbag.
Yeah, get fucked, dude.
Beyond that, I mean, pretty much the only thing of real merit of this was I just said when this movie ends, because you were saying, Lebbi here the entire time was going, I mean, this is bad, but it's not that bad. And then it got worse and worse and worse and worse in terms of nothing interesting happened. Awful special effects. Just impeccably awful acting and everything.
Yeah, it was boring as hell, and then
as I said to him, just wait for the ending.
Yeah, it got bad. It got like worse every second.
And then the ending happens, which is just a flat-out rip-off of the original Evil Dead, where some unseen force just kind of goes... It goes running straight at the main characters, which is Christian Slater and Tara Reid. Which, dear God, there's a 20-year age difference, as well as also being I'd say a 20 degrees of acting ability, but that's beside the point. Anyway, that comes at the camera, and I hear Lebbi here shout from the kitchen, "Oh, that wasn't so bad!" And then the Nightwish kicked in, and I could hear the blood drain out of his face on that one.
I hate Nightwish. I hate it so much.
I know it's terrible, but just how much you hate it makes me love it more.
Yeah. Sorry to any Nightwish fans out there. The 5 of you still left. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting enough, I guess.
I've got a feeling the lead guitarist of Nightwish just clicked off this quick street and going, "Well, fuck those guys."
Yeah. What a dick. Yeah, but the weird thing to me was that the game is this like slow, like mystery, low tech, like, you know, spooky game, and the movie is like an action thriller horror movie. That's
with enough of a budget that all of your army soldier guys in the background out of Aliens are wearing paintball gear and skateboarding helmets.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry to blow your mics out there, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It was... I mean, we've seen worse. I would say that Blood Rain is definitely worse than this. House of the Dead was worse than this. So, you know, so far this is the best Yuva Boll movie I've ever seen.
But again, once again, when I looked at you and said, "Can you believe this was released theatrically?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said to Lebbi, how is it we are watching the unrated version of this and it still feels like a direct to sci-fi
Yeah.
cut to censored for sci-fi original movie.
Yeah, so apparently, like, let's see, what is even the plot?
Christian Slater is
an orphan, right?
he is a man who wears a leather duster in public that the only way of fastening it is 3 buttons that somehow makes it
No, buckles.
douchier. Much douchier.
3 buckles, not buttons. Like.
Oh, did I say buttons? I meant
Yeah.
buckles. My apologies. He looks like he stepped out of a Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah, and apparently he's some sort of badass right from the beginning. Don't know how or why, but
I'm a badass paranormal researcher or something like that. And it's just like, okay, movie, no, badass should not be utilized in the script, but okay.
yeah, and like he is constantly getting in fights, and it's an excuse for them to have action scenes.
The lamest car chase I've ever seen involving 2 taxis, and I've seen the Jimmy Fallon Taxi movie, so that'll tell you something.
Yeah, the action scenes are terrible, but you know, it gets the point across.
That this is going to be painful. That's the point it's getting across, and it gets it across quite well.
So we find out that
Tara Reid is apparently literate in that since she can actually sign off on a messenger disposition because she's a head archaeologist and curator at a local library in Toronto.
Yeah, so they find out that there's like a little alien slug thing that can burrow into people and control them and like apparently turn them into I don't know. Do they turn into zombies? Do they turn into the alien things?
I've seen this movie multiple times. I still don't have a pertinent answer for you on that.
Yeah, anyway, blatant alien ripoffs.
Which, as I said to Lebbi as we began this, I really don't understand how 20th Century Fox didn't sue. And he looks at me and goes, I don't know what you mean. And then halfway through the movie, the doctor goes, we call them Xenos. It's just like, okay, lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, no, they probably decided not to sue just out of pity.
So then they figure that that all the orphans that came from the same orphanage as Christian Slater,
who all disappeared randomly.
All disappeared randomly at the same time, that they all have these alien slug things in them. Except for Christian Slater, whose alien thing got severed at some point because he got like electrocuted as a child.
He was hiding in the outside generator room or little house thing, and he was sitting up against there. And just imagine some random little blonde 13-year-old who has Kristen Slater hair, and you're just like, okay, that's a little on the nose, but that's pretty goddamn funny.
These enemies are not in the games. I'm just gonna say that. Boll does this thing where he likes to kind of just make shit up. Anyway,
this doesn't feel like Alone in the Dark. This feels like Boll's Pitch Black is the best way of describing what this movie is.
Yeah, so...
And we don't even have the charismatic power of Vin Diesel to star drive this film, and I hope, Lebbi, you are understanding every ounce of fucking sarcasm I say when I say charismatic powerhouse that is Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
No. Let's put it this way. Christian Slater, normally a very charismatic, very good actor, but you can tell he was going straight through his divorce at this point. That involved him getting stabbed in the throat and had to be closed by 21 stitches. You can feel all the charisma of him in this going, oh, great, I'm paying alimony with this film. I'm happy, Harry hard on. Yay. My apologies. But, yes, no, is this not, though, Pitch Black? But by Boll.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way of putting it. It's not good. Let's see, and then what happens? Do they open a portal or something?
At the end, they do. First, they got to meet up with the guy from Blade, the main villain from Blade, who all three of us were sitting on the couch here going, who's that again?
Oh, yeah,
and we're like,
oh
yeah, it's the guy from Blade. And we're like, who's the guy?
Or something?
We're like, what's that guy's name again? Something from Blade? Yeah, he played Deacon Frost in Blade. What's his name again? And we just typed in, guy from Blade. And it just went, do you mean Steven Dorff? Steven Dorff is a Canadian actor known for being in Blade.
Yeah, it's Steven Dorff.
Steven with a PH and a Dorff with 2 Fs.
Oh, yeah.
A guy from Blade. Yeah, no,
yeah, he's like a corrupt police officer because for some reason the police have to be involved. I guess it's missing persons, so that makes sense. But it's really weird for, the game was all like, low tech and stuff. And in this movie, they just point a barcode scanner at something and it scans a 3D model into their computer and then tells them exactly what the object is and where it came from. They have like a live video feed X-ray machine that's just a little thing you hold in your hand and point at someone.
Not an instant cancer wand, which is what it would be in real life.
And it's just stuff that's like, well, how do we put into the movie that they can X-ray this guy for the thing that's like lodged in his back? Like, we'll just give him a little doodad to do it. Oh, they need to track these things somehow. Oh, we'll just make another little doodad for them. It's pretty lazy.
Lazy is the nicest word I would call this movie.
Yeah, let's see. Then more bad fight scenes happen. Honestly, this is about the time it started getting worse and worse by the minute. Up until now, it was just pretty boring and bland.
And then the military comes out, who are part of some sort of paranormal division of the United States government. What was it, like 923-7 or something like that? Or 913 or something?
Remember.
And that's when you see Steven Dorff and his minions in all their glory wearing paintball, chest protectors and skateboard helmets. And it's just like, oh, no.
Yeah, it was around this time I started checking out.
And then I saw Steven Dorff was packing a Calico, and everybody else in his team had a Canadian version of an M4, and I just went, oh no, this is so Canadian that not even the SG-1 team was willing to step in on this one. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, but let's see, how did the movie end? Let's just skip right to the goods.
The evil bad guy doctor dude opens the evil gate. Steven Dorff throws a buck knife underhand straight into the guy's chest, and he falls down the shaft.
Oh, yeah. Onto some spikes.
The evil monsters come running out. Steven Dorff blows up the place. But, oh no, what a twist. Sorry, what a twist.
What a twist.
He's still alive, and he's walking around in the end. And then Christian Slater and Tara Reid are walking around in the middle of Toronto, and they realize, there's no one here. It's all evacuated. I'm like, oh god, this has been Uwe Boll's Resident Evil pitch the entire time. And then out of nowhere, Evil Dead ending. So,
yeah,
no, I mean, let's put it this way. They made an 8-minute scroll, quote-unquote 8-minute scroll at the beginning of this film to describe the backstory that we're supposed to pick up during the movie, which apparently in the original cut didn't pick up on. And so this opening scroll that lasts for way too goddamn long and still just feels like I don't understand any of this was narrated by Uwe Boll himself. And I don't know if that was him going, I'm so cheap, I'm not going to pay someone else to do this. Or if it was him just going, you know what? If you motherfuckers want a opening narration, you're going to get a narration.
You know it's the first one. You know he's in the editing booth and he's like, oh, crap. All right, give me a microphone.
I'll give it to him. His American accent ain't bad compared to when I normally hear him, but
yeah.
For anybody wondering what he looks like, just imagine a German version of Joe Rogan, and that's exactly what Uwe Boll looks and sounds like, which is probably the most unremarkable sentence I've ever seen. The least shocking thing I've ever seen.
Well, with all that out of the way, was this incompetence or incontinence, Elmer?
If this could get any more incontinent, this thing would be put down and put out of its goddamn misery. This was released to theaters.
Ugh,
I remember this poster, which the original poster we were thinking of putting on here, but then with how close it actually looks to Alien, we thought maybe Disney would try to actually take down the Twitch stream, so we went with this thing that is the international DVD release poster. No.
Yeah.
This was as incontinent as we could get. This movie, dear God.
Bad. Real bad.
Real bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say mostly incompetent. It's definitely not good, but it didn't make me angry. So that says a lot. We've watched some real stinkers like Blood Rain. God, I hated Blood Rain.
Now imagine this. Blood Rain was made for half the budget of this.
I can see it. I can see it.
On a different continent than this.
Yeah.
With more well-established actors than this.
Oof. Yeah. We watched some real stinkers. Yeah, it was just mostly just boring. Like, I feel even with a nothing burger story, and making an action movie could at least be entertaining just for the action. But if you fuck that up, then
it
was just background noise, really, at the end of the day. Which, I mean, fine.
Which, again, at the same time, how do you fuck up an action movie? I mean, I understand not understanding the concepts of what you need to put into play for something to seem like it's full of suspense or action to it.
Like music, for example, during an action scene. That would be helpful.
Or being able to cut together a functioning scene so it actually has fast, impacting action to it. A guy literally dives off of a third-story building onto Christian Slater. The second he stood there and stretched his arms out, Lebbi turns and looks at me and goes, "Oh man, what do you bet he makes a hawk noise?" And I'm just like,
I wish he would have. I wish he would have. They did this weird thing. Every time they'd show like a piece of gold, you'd hear like the little twinkling, like of chimes, like it's audibly sparkling.
It's the start of the noise when Link opens the chest up in Ocarina of Time.
It's like straight out of a cartoon. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's good background noise, I suppose. It's not the worst thing, but I definitely don't want to watch it again.
I guess I should say the main reason I describe this as incontinent over incompetent. Let's put it this way. Sci-Fi Channel original movies, especially from the Asylum, they at least know what they are. They know they are not being released theatrically anyway. They understand this is made for an audience of people who are sitting down on a goddamn Saturday night with a plate of frozen pizza, some beer, and whatever other substance may be, anything between weed, Ritalin, or crystal goddamn meth. Whoever it is in their homes are enjoying that with their frickin' Tostino's pizzas. This movie thinks it's above that, and that's why I call it incontinent at that point.
Yeah, that's fair.
This was released majorly theatrical.
That's fair.
The Saw franchise was going high. Hostel 2 was due to be out in theaters at any minute. They were currently working on the distribution rights to Twilight.
Oh, man.
Top of the world, baby. Let's double down. Yuva, what do you got coming out the pipeline? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're definitely going to watch something better next week. Should we spoil it?
I mean, we're still kind of working on it.
Okay. Well, we'll hold off. But we're not going to watch a stinker next week.
Well, let's put it this way: we're down to two choices right now. Maybe we'll have some other ones in the leading. We're thinking either between Detective Pikachu, or we're thinking we're going to watch about 6 hours worth of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows over the past few years, and then talk about the DOA beach volleyball game.
No,
so we'll figure it out between them.
Yes. We could watch a past broadcast of the X Games and cover BMX XX.
XX?
Yeah, BMX XX. Remember that game?
Nope.
It was supposed to be a Dave Mira cycling like Tony Hawk like game, but then it was gonna have adult themes like strippers on bikes and like a racist caricature of a Asian man named Kok Hung Lo. And then so Dave Mira pulled his likeness away from the studio developing it, and instead of being a Dave Mira game, it was just BMXXX.
One, Dave Mira. Now, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Two, this sounds amazing.
It's not.
Three, as somebody who is a mountain biker, this sounds amazing. And four, I'm just like, what are we going to watch? Out Cold and like BMX Bandits back to back for that? Or
yeah, we could do an episode on that. I suppose it's got an interesting enough story behind it. Yeah, we could do that. But next week we're gonna do something good because it's gonna be our like Christmas episode.
Oh yeah,
so
we gotta treat ourselves somehow.
Yeah, we're not gonna watch something that makes us angry. So,
well, we're not angry in this one. We're just disappointed.
Yeah,
like we are with Christian Slater's career around this time.
Yuva, we're not mad. We're just concerned.
Oh no, I was concerned many movies before this. Yuva, I'm still concerned, buddy.
Well, with that being said, I think we're gonna see if anyone wants to do a Q&A with us. But if you're listening to this on Spotify and you want to catch the video on YouTube, or vice versa, if you want to find out where to listen to us, go to gamelink.click. You'll find all our links there. Yeah, I think that'll do it. So we'll see you next week for a special Christmas episode, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, Merry Crimbus. Watch Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on Netflix right now. It's really good. And stay safe and stay sexy, kids.
Bye.